You say it came out of left field, but hadn't he robbed the same bank once before?
I didn't know he had, though. I didn't know that. I didn't
You
know
didn't know it?
No.
So
he
he
had a
got
business. He got away with it the first time.
He robbed that same bank.
He robbed that same. That tells you that he wasn't thinking clearly, because he got away with it the first time and he went back. I mean, come on. You don't have to be a Rhodes Scholar to realize that that's not.
Wow.
Yes.
And now, you worked as a corrections officer.
Yes, very many years ago I did.
And you met him in prison.
I did. I know. It's very hard to explain that. I never lead with that part of the story because it's hard to explain how I could have been shocked that he did something like that when I met him where I met him.
What was he in for?
He was in for bank larceny. I mean, he did this before, but he didn't rob a bank before. He got involved with somebody who robbed a bank and tried to get the money. It was like a weird, I was hoodwinked by him. He was very charismatic. And then he spent 20 years trying to prove to everyone that he wasn't that person. He worked 6 days a week, 7 days a week in the summertime in a restaurant business. I think everybody knows how hard a mom and pop restaurant business is. He was a really good father to his kids. He was a really good son to his mother.
Did they know about his history?
My kids, no.
They didn't know?
No, I kept that a secret.
And you didn't know he'd robbed the bank before?
No.
And they didn't know?
They didn't know any of his history.
They didn't know that you'd met him in prison?
No.
They didn't know that he had kidnapped a banker's wife?
Well, Daria found out right before he passed away.
Okay,
like at 15, but
yeah.
not as a child.
Okay, she didn't know that he had kidnapped a banker's wife
No.
to get money, and that's why he went to prison?
No.
Okay. So when you know this about him, but then you've watched him work day in and day out and live a straight life.
And then I met him, you have to understand where I met him. I met him in what they used to call like Club Fed. It wasn't like a prison environment. He was, he had earned his bachelor's degree. He was sort of the superstar of the education program. Right. He wore regular clothes, and I was in that education department. And all we did was speak. It was nothing salacious. Right. We talked a few times. He was very interested in opening up a business in the area where I lived. And once he got out, he looked me up.
Right.
We fell in love. I mean, not on top of it, he had green eyes and curly light hair and an Italian accent, and I don't remember much after that.
So you just kind of fell for him.
Yeah, I fell for him. I fell in love with him.
Well, what pushed him over the line to do this?
You know, in retrospect, I mean, my daughter Daria was diagnosed with bipolar, and I started educating myself, and I feel like I lived the life of a spouse of somebody with unmedicated bipolar. Well, our life was a roller coaster, and I just got used to it. It was always a lot of money, or we were so broke we were gonna like lose our house.
Right. And you say that when this happened, you thought he was doing what? You thought he was still working?
Yes.
You thought he...
We owned, at that time, he had opened up a cleaning business that cleaned vacation homes, because we lived in a touristy area.
Yeah. So you thought he was just going to work?
Going to work. In the morning, the last thing I said to him was, I would drop the kids off at school, and I said, I'm gonna take 10, and I grabbed $10 out of his pocket that he had on the thing, because he was in the shower, and he said, okay, I'll see you later. And that was it. That was the last time I saw him. And that was my last money. That was literally the money I had in my pocket.